Hey everybody, welcome to an unusual Wednesday episode of Defense of the Patients. I am your host Cyphus. Wood Shrew and Korean Barbecue are unavailable today. Old KBBQ is ramping up for things with Manila. As you guys all know, he's the Chinese translator over there, so he's going to be tied up, and you're going to be getting some unusual Wednesday episodes for at least a week or two until he's back and can kind of jump in. But do not fear, because today I have a really great guest, already one of my favorite people in the scene. He is the co-host of True Sight over at Daily Dot. Malice, welcome to the show again.
Hey man, what's going on? How you doing? Unusual. I don't know how I feel about that, but okay.
Well, everybody who listens on Wednesday is used to like getting really pro analysis, and if there's one thing I've managed to do with Dota 2, for sure, it's make myself synonymous with being a noob.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
So my following of the pro scene pretty much consists of watching like. I watch the majors since they've been going. Obviously, the TIs since I've been involved with the scene. But like I don't go out of my way to watch the private tournaments, I guess, for lack of a better term, in between all the majors. There's just too much Dota to watch at that point for me.
There is.
And
do you like that? Do you like the oversaturation of Dota during certain time periods, and then the lack of it at others?
No, not at all. So like a couple of years ago, and I'll have you know, I was flamed for this thought, but I suggested to my Monday co-host Roland that Valve should step in and have more control over tournaments, and that they should limit the number of tournaments that exist every year so that we can actually follow it and give a shit about teams and like force a roster lock. Although in my mind, the ideal situation would be, these 4 tournaments a year with a roster lock that wasn't just between tournaments. Like, let's make it a season. Let's make every year a season, and let's force a roster lock, by let's say 2 to 3 months after TI or 2 months after TI. And then let's just force those players to play together for the duration of the season so we can actually give a shit and start following these storylines.
Okay.
So otherwise I have a hard time doing it, and I find it hard to care. Like I don't know. I mean, there are so many tournaments and so much constantly going on, and before the roster locks that were implemented, there were so many goddamn players to follow and so many movements, even just between tournaments. Before the majors.
Yeah.
It was painful to follow. I'll say that.
Yeah, I actually haven't been able to sit down and watch too much of the majors so far, like the qualifiers and whatnot. I do know my friend Llama Down Under has been casting some of them. I do know like quite a few people have been casting as much as they possibly can. But there's just too many games for one studio to cover, and it's just kind of crazy. I mean, I did catch the butt end of the Veggie eSports getting knocked out, but like I couldn't dedicate too much time. I've just been too busy with other things, and like that's kind of how it is every Wednesday. Like I just kind of like I think it's like Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. I really buckle down and I look at everything that's happened in the past week since the last True Sight episode, and I'm like, okay, this is what's important. This is what's crazy. This is what the people like. I'll even I might look at the Reddit posts, because I mean I'm always on Reddit. Like that's my thing. I love Reddit, but
so you're a masochist.
I'm not a masochist. I wouldn't say I'm a masochist so much, but like I do enjoy like seeing everything that goes on in the Dota universe in like one location. I mean, I made a post yesterday asking for builds because like the build editor hasn't been fixed since like the old client. And
Roland was showing me that.
Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah.
It blew up. I was like, holy shit, you guys are like right, yeah. But I mean, then again, it might be because I have a fucking joined Dota flare, and people sit up and listen when they see that flare. So I mean, who knows?
Yeah, and your suggestion is a worthwhile one to consider. I mean, there are so many people out there trying to implement builds. I mean, we had Tortellini on not too long ago. And you've got somebody like that who has a 6.87 standard build for every hero. That's a painful process to go through.
Yeah, it is. I mean, every time there's an update or something, if somebody has like a new idea of what needs to happen with this hero and whatnot, like this, I like the fact that when I try to teach people to play Dota, like I feel like once a week I've got 3 or 4 people for a Dota class. And I haven't even. I was thinking about streaming those, but I haven't decided to figure out exactly how I want to stream them. But this a couple of days ago, I was streaming a Dota. I was actually doing a Dota class with two of my military friends, ex-military friends, who want to pick it up. And I mean, first I was like, why would you want to do that? And then second up, I was like, fine, let's sit down, let's talk about it, man. So I got them in the game, and one of them wanted to play Omni Knight, but he wanted to play him as a tank. He wanted to like build Omni Knight tanky, and I was like, that's gonna kill your mana region early game. I mean, like you can do that. I would say like keep the initial like the standard. What is it? Soul Ring boots into mana boots.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Soul Ring boots, mana boots, and then you go mechanism possibly depending on what you need at the time.
Yeah.
But he was just like Soul Ring boots into mana boots into like some tankier items. I think he built fucking Vanguard or things like that. I was like, dude, that's so wrong. Why would you? I mean, to me and everybody else that knows Dota, they're just like, I can see what you were going for, but you shouldn't be in the fight like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason an Omni Knight is going to be initiating.
Yeah. Maxing that degen aura, pick
Right?
up a blink.
I mean, it reminds me of that fucking like that video. I'm sorry for cussing, actually.
No, you can cuss all you want on this show.
Okay, cool. That's how I do it on Twitch too, like the True Sight show. But what is it? The old Omni Knight video where it's like I'm the carry now. It's like I'm the carry now, and then like runs into the thing and like he's got fucking like Mjolnir, Sanjin Yasa, and like he's just like rushing into the fucking fight.
All right, so here's my funny Omni Knight carry story.
I love it already.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a man. I look at pornography.
Hell yeah. I'm
sifting through some X videos one day, not to plug anybody in particular.
Not Pornhub this time.
And I see there on the page Dota 2 porn. And I click it, and it is not a porno video, but rather some guy who felt like it was porn. He uploaded a video of himself wrecking as an Omni Knight carry. To X videos.
Did you watch it?
Oh
Did you
yeah.
watch the whole thing?
Oh, start to finish, man.
Yeah, man. By the end of it, you're just like, I need a toilet.
Let's just say the tissues got used regardless, you know?
Yeah. Omni Knight. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm excited for this fucking Action Slacks set that I've seen everybody have.
Yeah, I know everybody. I've seen everybody talk about it, but I have not. Well, I clicked on the link and I know I've seen it. I know I've seen it in, or at least those drawings that he initially had in the workshop when he was requesting that folks go and like it. But I haven't had a chance to like actually go and look at it really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really. I thought it was great, but that's just my opinion of it. I'm a massive nerd for that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to that kind of stuff. Actually, I do have a couple questions for you guys. Like, what do you think?
Okay.
What do you think of the new patch?
So I'm really bad with change. So the moment that I saw the new patch, I had my very base human reaction to it, which is, this isn't Dota anymore. Please don't do this to me. But I've come to appreciate it. So Roland and I started smurfing, which is ridiculous to say at just barely above 2K. But we've been playing all these games with newer players, and I had a chance to run Echo Saber on Sven.
Oh my god, that is dirty.
Yeah,
like I've seen that crap.
Oh, it is sickeningly good, and I guess when I initially saw that item, all I was really thinking about with it was the dual attack thing. So my mind instantly jumped to like PA. Of course, I know everybody jumped to Legion Commander upon seeing that, getting those and crit heroes, but Wraith King came to mind when I initially saw it. But on Sven, if you're going a max cleave build, which I think everybody is at this point, that double attack with Echo Saber, 2 minutes into the game, it turns you into a farm machine. I was not contemplating what that item was capable of doing for your farm.
For Echo Saber?
Oh, yeah. Because that is just not where my mind went. My mind went to, okay, I'm going to put out a lot of damage with Echo Saber. I want to get 2 shots at having a crit with PA. I want to get 2 shots at having a crit with Wraith King. Not, oh, yeah, I could hit the wave twice as Sven and basically clear it.
Exactly.
So that item having that extra farm potential was a fucking blast. I'm definitely gonna run it again, and maybe replace it in my build with Sanjin Yasha. my buddy Wazoo was telling me that he's had a lot of success running Echo Saber and Armlet on Sven with it.
Armlet, Armlet also now gives armor, which is really
Yeah.
good because, as Nahaz was saying, it's an attribute that isn't built on strength characters or heroes much because lack of agility
Yeah.
growth. But I feel like it's probably something that we should see going forward is them beginning to get some items that can build armor, which I kind of don't like, but I do like. I mean, could you imagine fucking like Pudge late game with
Yeah.
like 5k health and like 50 armor? You're not killing him. Just walk away and let him just do what he wants.
Yeah. Yeah. That I'm sure somebody out there's got a nice cheesy Pudge build where they just fill it full of armor.
Yeah, I mean that needs to happen. They need it. That needs to happen. But I'm sorry for like hijacking the conversation.
No, absolutely. This is why I had you on. You're a great conversationalist. Anybody who watches the True site over on Daily Dot probably already knows that.
Oh, thank you.
But it's I had a blast when we had you on last time with Mally. In fact, it got me thinking like Malistrix from Join Dota, for those who may not know.
Oh, I thought you're telling me. I was like,
no, sorry, I know Malice. So when we had Malistrix on, all I kept thinking was that you and Malistrix should like co-host a game show where he just runs that like Family Feud style.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, he would just berate me nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
that's why it would be. It's why it would be successful. I think
just everybody gets to watch Malice get yelled at. That should be just a show called Malice Gets Yelled At.
That's what we'll call it.
I would watch that shit.
Yelling at Malice with Mally.
Yeah. No, it's a horrible show. I'm already sad. Anybody that knows me knows I sing a fuck ton, so there's that. Let me think. So, shucks, that last show was fun. I do remember it because it was like what items would be the most sexual, and I just got it so wrong because I was thinking of it literally because I was like Rod of Atos because it's got the word rod in it, and he was just like, nah man, Orb of Venom, and I was like, dude, all of these items are rapey as fuck.
Yeah,
but
like Shadowblade. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that.
Shit is just like
that's basically saying
all.
Yeah, it apparently was lost on Malistrix at the time. He didn't understand that that's why it was so hard to comprehend. Apparently, the group of people that he asked were, convicted rapists. Which of the items sounded like the most sexual?
Yeah, let's ask which chat. Let's see what they say. Because that's a nice hive of villainy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There you go. May the 4th is tomorrow, everybody.
Oh yeah. So you'll call Twitch chat a hive of villainy.
Man.
But you're a Reddit fiend,
I like Reddit. I mean, okay, so obviously I'm not going on the Donald, but I mean, yeah, it's not that. It depends. Don't go on a Wednesday. Just don't go on a Wednesday.
Sure, fair enough. So, I want to ask you a little bit about yourself. I want to know. I want to start at the beginning with old Malice. Where did you grow up, and where do you call home?
Oh wow, that's an interesting question. I'm a military brat, so I grew up in a lot of places, and right now I would say home. I live in Austin right now, so Austin is my home. I lived in Virginia, Delaware, Mississippi, Florida. I've lived in Washington State. For the past few years, I lived in England and Portugal. So I've lived all over the world. It's just like home is a very interesting place. Home is what you make it, as I've learned.
Yeah.
Like you can't say this is where my home is because my family's there. But what if you fucking hate your family? Then like what are you gonna say is your home?
Yeah.
So I say home is where I currently reside or where I would like to be. Like that's what home is. And right now Austin is great. I mean the weather today was fudge and hot. Oh my God. But today was hot. Yesterday was cold in the morning. I got to do whatever I want. I picked up Ratchet and Clank for no reason for like $15 from GameStop.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, which is nice. I was like, hey, I don't have to pay $40 for this game. I'm not doing that.
So, I mean, of all the places you've lived, do you have any like favorites? Were there places you preferred living over others?
Portugal is nice. I lived in the Azores, and then I lived in like mainland for a bit. Azores are nice, but I hated the Azores. I mean, because it's like you're stuck on a small island. And it wasn't like It wasn't the kind of island where everybody was having parties all the time. It was a small island of farmers, so everything smelled like cow shit. So I mean, it's just Azores, Terceira, a great island, great. Like if you, a lot of people don't even know they exist. It's a small chain of islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Um, but it's nice, but it's also full of cows. There were two party spots. I mean, I was like a 19-year-old kid at the time,
Yeah.
so all I wanted to do was drink and party. And like then I was like I was dating a Polish chick while I lived in Portugal. That was weird. I know. It's like I found the only Polish chick on the whole island. It was like that's where I'm gonna go. It's gonna be my girl. So yeah.
So what did your dad do in the military?
Oh, my mom and dad were both in the
Oh,
military. My
okay.
mom was she's logistics. My dad was he's a Navy guy. He was an engine guy in the Navy.
Oh, nice. So he
Yeah.
was like on the boats, like doing maintenance on the engines, like running.
Most I don't actually know too much. I've never actually talked to him about his military background. My mom is the one I usually talk to about it because I mean I went in right after her in the Air Force, and yeah, and then I got out and then I started doing this shit. So
What led you to joining the Air Force?
being 18, fresh out of high school, and not knowing what I wanted to do. Literally, like my
Yeah.
mom, I think it was like a Friday. I was about to go hang out with some friends, and I was sitting on my bed, doing something on my laptop. And mom comes to the room, and she's like, "So you graduate in like a month or two? What are your plans?" And I was like, "I don't know." So I like looked around, and I grabbed the phone, and I called the recruiter. I was like, "Hey, I know your entire shtick, so let me just knock out the ASVAB, ace it, and then you get me a job deal." And he was like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "This is Lacey's son." He was like, "Oh, cool, okay." He knew my mom, so it's just like, yeah, man. Like, so I got like a 93 in the ASVAB, and then I got SATCOM,
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, satellite communications and whatnot.
Yeah.
I did that for
Yeah. So I mean, not to knock it, but I mean, a nice cushy job for the Air Force, really. I mean, those are, you know.
I'm not gonna go too deep into what I did, but yeah, I would say it was for the first few years it was cushy, and then it became like, oh wait, I'm in the military.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it
Yeah.
could be worse. You could be one of those poor guys that winds up like processing badges and IDs, for the
Oh
entirety of
God.
his tour of duty.
Yeah, that is not cool. I always feel bad for him. I used to bring cookies to him. So it's a tradition with my family. For Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, and Christmas, we bake a bunch of cookies and we drive to the gates to the guys that are still manning the gates, and we give them cookies.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
That is
that's got to be the worst job, really.
Yeah, that's especially on those days, Thanksgiving,
Oh, yeah.
Christmas, and whatnot. But I do, after being in and meeting those guys and hanging out with them, I know how they do it. So all of the married guys work on New Year's and like the party holodays, like
Okay.
St. Patrick's Day and whatnot. But the younger guys they work on Christmas, like the family holidays.
Nice.
So
Okay.
it works out.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
fair arrangement.
I
Y-
thought it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, so I shouldn't be worried about you guys.
Yeah,
Screw you.
the young guys still get to party, and the old guys get to be home with their families on Christmas. It works. That's a straight up trade. That's fair enough.
Straight up trade.
So when you at the time at 18 when you were thinking about, or well, actually deciding to go into the military, had esports ever crossed your mind as a career path or something that you wanted to do?
So as a person that picked up a Sega Genesis controller and played Sonic like every day for for like that childhood time period when that was cool,
Oh yeah.
I always was like, I wish I could do this as a job. And then I think I grew up in that time period when like I saw Fatality and all those late '90s, early 2000s esports stars when you saw like the one or two that was really good at like
Yeah.
old like Unreal Tournament or some shit or Doom. Like I think it was Unreal Tournament was the main game back
Yeah, I
then.
think Unreal was kind of the first one that really sparked that. Well, and to an extent, like side scroller fighters have always,
Oh yeah, Street
kind
Fighter.
of had some type of, yeah, it was Street Fighter. I guess Mortal Kombat kind of got shafted there a little bit.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat just I don't feel like the oh you know what? I'm not gonna make any enemies here, but I am not a fan of Mortal Kombat. Never have, never will be. My dad is a huge fan of it though. Um,
What do you have against Mortal Kombat?
the combo combination system. Like I love Street Fighter. I like the fact that everything kind of feels like it flows. Like the look at the movement for the Shoryuken. It's the movement is somebody literally uppercutting you in the jaw, right?
Sure. Okay.
And the button combination is it's towards opponent, down, um lower down, like down towards the opponent, and then punch. like light, medium, or hard punch, or all three at the same time. That literally, like, you're kind of mimicking the movements of Ryu in that moment.
Okay.
That logically makes sense.
Well,
Now
I was
let's.
mimicking Liu Kang's bicycle kick because he was just charging up, bro. All right.
Oh my god.
When I held down B, all right, I was just
You know
I
what?
was just
Let's bring
charging
Shaq
up
Fu
the.
back. Let's just go all back old school and bring Shaq Fu back. Let's just do that one. Do you remember that? Do you know what
No,
that is?
no, I
Oh
have
my
no
god,
clue.
Google it.
All right, I'm gonna do it right now. How do I?
Google Shaq Fu.
Like Shaquille O'Neal Shaq?
Yes, SHAQFU.
Oh my god.
You didn't even know this existed.
No.
I know. I had it. I own that game.
Oh my god. Why?
My dad had it, and that means I had it. I had it. Like, Calvin and Hobbes and Shaq Fu, bro. That was my childhood.
Oh my god. I mean, how did Shaq get a fighting game?
I know.
Let's see.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I totally checked that one too.
There will be a Shaq Fu 2 at some point, apparently.
Don't really?
Yeah, apparently. This is as of 2014, so God only knows what really happened to it. I'm guessing the folks who are big fans of this aren't updating the Wikipedia page as often as they should be.
It's because they're still trying to figure out what the internet is.
But no, yeah, I was a Mortal Kombat fan.
Really?
That's what I mean. So my first console, I suspect I'm like three to 5 years older than you are. Because
Okay.
so like my first console was an NES. Grew like literally the first game I ever played in my entire life was that first Super Mario Brothers. That Super Mario Duck Hunt combo.
Yeah.
And then we held on to that and didn't upgrade to the Super NES for a while, and actually skipped over it to do the Sega Genesis as well. So like at like I want to say like 10 years old, 10 to 12 years old, I was rocking the Sega Genesis, and
Hell yeah.
the first fighting game that I got introduced to was Mortal Kombat. And more specifically, Mortal Kombat 2 was the game that I ended up playing probably more than anything on that Genesis,
Like,
even above the
so
old
much.
Sonic games.
Hell yeah. Like, you wanted to know if I got an esports. So
Oh
here's
yeah.
here's my gaming thing. You wanted to hear it, here you go. So I got into I played Sega Genesis and Sonic when I was a kid, blah blah blah. I was really into that. I didn't have a console actually as a child after the Sega Genesis until PlayStation 2 came out. Like, the entire time period in between that. I didn't have a console.
Oof.
And then when PS2 came out, I decided to save up and buy PS1. And like, even during that time, I was going to my friends' houses and playing Halo. I was a huge Halo fan.
Yeah.
And all the way up until like 18 and 18 when I went in the military, I was playing like every game under the sun. Like, after I bought the PlayStation 2, I bought a PlayStation 1. I played through Legend of the Dragoon, which is a PS1 RPG, 4 disc RPG. Played through like I still am a massive RPG fan. I
Yeah.
love RPGs. A lot.
Yeah.
So I
I'm with you.
played like all of the Final Fantasies, Legend of the Dragoon. What else did I play? Like Chrono Trigger, Xenogears, Xenosaga, like 1, 2, and 3. Dot Hack. Do you know the Dot Hacks?
No, I'm not familiar with those.
Oh my God, look into the Dot Hack series. Amazing. So after that, I mean, I played. If there's a game out there and I don't have an opinion on it, it's probably under my radar, and that's hard. So like, I'm one of those people, like I love to have a conversation about games. And like, I remember when I was growing up, there would always be somebody that was into a game that I wasn't, and that was mostly the Korean kids playing MapleStory. But I mean, I even got into MapleStory because I was just like, wow, these kids are like addicted to this game. I need to find out why. And then I leveled up to like 80, and I was just like, now I see why. This is a fucking time sink.
Yeah.
No. So I stopped doing that, went in the military, still played games. I dropped dude, I used to play, like, I would buy a game a day, like, back then. I would just buy games all the fucking time. I was wasting so much money. And then I think 2009, 2010 came around, and I got into Eve.
Oh, you poor soul.
I know.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
All right, here's my Eve story. I downloaded Eve, and because it advertises everything that, like, as a young nerd, I always wanted. I wanted to own my own spaceship. I wanted the ability to fly around an open galaxy. I wanted the ability to discover new areas. I wanted the ability to start a company and, like, and actually, and basically have that RPG in space captain element. Um,
Yeah.
so I download Eve to get into it, and after about 3 or 4 hours of just kind of getting used to it and getting used to the controls and kind of getting the gist of what was going to be going on, I quickly realized that I was in college at the time, and I was studying psychology, and I was thinking about and still kind of am, like, going into grad school and pursuing a PhD. And I came over and I told my buddy Roland, I was like, well, I can either be a psychologist or a spaceship captain. I have to choose. there's
Yeah.
there's no way I can do both.
Eve is as okay, so Eve is, as you will probably tell in the next 20 minutes after we go through all the like knowledge and whatnot. I am a stubborn motherfucker, and I am one of those people that seriously, like, I will come at something, realize I'm not good at it, lick my wounds, and I come at it even harder. So Eve is one of those games. I was in Portugal. I remember this dude named Reichert, Dan Reichert. He was a traveling teacher. He taught very complicated systems, and he taught a class. He taught a class on the base where I was at. He taught a class, and we all went to dinner because, like, you get to know the people. Because, this dude flew from New York to teach us this stuff. Might as well take him to dinner and get to know the guy.
Yeah.
So he was a traveling teacher, and everywhere he went, he had brought this rig, this desk, like this laptop that might as well be a desktop, and he played Eve, and that was like his guarantee. Like, if he had an op to do at like 3 o'clock New York time, guess what? There's no class at that time. This dude was dedicated to Eve. I love the guy. I mean, he was awesome. And so when somebody speaks about something they're so dedicated to, naturally military members are going to be like, "Oh, that seems really cool. I should try it out." So we got like everybody in the class to try it out. Needless to say, most people dropped it. I tried it and I was like, "This is stupid," and I never picked it. I didn't pick it up for a few months. Fast forward a few years, um, I downloaded it again, and I was like, "This game kicked my ass a couple years ago. I'm going to learn it." So I learned it. I got a bunch of my friends into it. I started a corp. I started two corps actually. Uh, I amassed a fortune by flipping and trading things in the market. I ended up both of those corps ended up flailing out because, like, it was people I knew in real life, and my actual true story, in my real life boss was under me in this corp, right?
Oh God.
Not even kidding. My real life boss was in my corp, and he was like he was a funds person. He was mining. He was mining and watching Netflix because his wife was like, "That's cool, whatever." So and then, like, everybody just kind of stopped playing around the same time. So I left and I joined Brave, and then I ended up doing a bunch of like thievery shit, like stealing people's ships and whatnot, just to see what I could do, blowing people's stuff up. And then I was like, you know what, I'm done with this game. I mean, I re-upped a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to see if my account was still there, and like I still have so much stuff in that game. It's just like I just no longer have the
Yeah.
taste to play
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, that game requires so much time. I mean, everything you talked about there sounds really simple, but when you get down to the concept of going and mining, that is a painful, painstaking, long ass, arduous fucking process. It it's not over quickly. They really make you earn that money when you, at least to initially get going. It seems like to
Yeah,
me.
you really do. I mean, I love Eve mainly because the CEO or one of the owners of the game has like come out and said, "I don't want stupid people playing this game." And one of the most amazing things is the fact, like, during the old tutorial system, not anymore, but the old tutorial system, you used to the game would give you a ship called the Ibis, because I was always Caldari. They give you an Ibis, they'd give you a weapon, and they'd give you a mining, like, they'd give you a weapon. They actually wouldn't even give you a mining laser yet. They just give you a they just fucking give you a weapon, right? And they'd say, blow up this place. And you'd target it and you'd orbit it and you'd be like, I need to shoot this thing. I need to shoot this thing. But they never gave you any ammo. So one of the first hurdles, one of the first tricks that Eve did back then was um, make you research at the beginning. So they gave you a weapon and they told you how to equip it, but they didn't give you any ammo. So now you had to figure out how to get ammo. And what they didn't tell you is you had to go in the market, go to a station, sit at the station, order ammo, put the ammo in your cargo hold, and then put the ammo in the gun, and then go out there, target it, and shoot it. That's a very complicated system.
Yeah.
And to somebody that's never played the game before, they'd be like, broken gun. What the fuck? Uninstall.
Yeah, my gun don't shoot.
Yeah.
What do I do?
You don't have ammo. You need to shoot with ammo, bro.
Yeah.
So that was like, I loved it because it wasn't like, when I came to it, it was like, there's so many secrets to this game. I need to figure it out.
Yeah, I get that draw. I mean, in a way that, as terrible as it sounds, like in a way that's what Dota has been.
That brings me full circle, actually. So it's actually pretty funny. If you ever look at my account, it says my first game was in 2012.
Oh, Jesus.
My first game was in my first Dota 2 game was in 2012. Actually, it should have been before that because 2012 is about right. Yeah, because Dota 2 was in beta back then. Yeah, so Dota 2 was in beta. My buddy. So here's a story. You want to know my Dota 2 origin story? This is it. I think I said this to like some friends of mine, but I never really told anybody like a lot. Anyway, long story short, I was stationed in Portugal. There's a man named Andrew Boger. He's gonna listen to this. I guarantee it. Boger was a huge Dota fan. This dude, he used to do this thing where he had dedicated time for he had dedicated social time because he was just like, I hate people. I don't want to be around people. But like we made friends with him, and then we made him like give us dedicated social time. And it was like 3 hours every like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? But once that 3 hours was done, like he had a fucking timer. Like once that 3 hours was done, he was just like, I'm gone. Gonna go play Dota. And I was just like, what? How can you do that? Like, we're out having fun as a group. Like, why are you going to go back to your room and play this computer game? I mean, I was a gamer and I was a massive nerd. I played a lot of Battlefield back then, but I was never like, Dota? What? Ugh.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine yourself quitting, being out with friends and be like, well, sorry, got to go get some Battlefield in.
Yeah, right? You don't do that because that's just masochistic. But, especially on my level, oh my God. But with Dota, he was really into it. So I do remember I sat down and was like, Andrew, I want you to teach me Dota. And he was just like, all right, man. Hell yeah, I'll teach you Dota. So he sat down with me. And I remember the first time he sat down, they had a dinner, like a free, like massive, like it was like a potluck type deal, right? But it was on a Sunday. So they had like all the people in base were bringing this food. It was this really big thing. It was like a party. And I was like, whoa, man, what time does that start? It was like 5 o'clock when I asked him to start playing with me. And this is back when the beta wasn't full of people. So you would be sitting there queued up to play for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? So like during the entire time we're in Skype and he's telling me how to play the game, telling me all this stuff. He's like, yeah, pick Lich and you're gonna like sacrifice these creeps and then you're gonna stay with me and you don't die. All I need you to do is sacrifice creeps and don't die. And I was just like, you seem stupid, but okay, I can do that. And then the game started, and a bunch of people came into my room and were just like, "Hey, you gonna come to the thing?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'll come." And then like 5 minutes passed, and I'm just sacrificing creeps and like trying to deny as much as I can and keeping this guy safe. And then like I got that down. I still didn't understand what the hell I was doing. And then like one of my friends, he was just like, "Hey man, food's almost gone. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I abandoned match and left. And the dude was just so pissed. He like didn't talk to me for like a week. Like the guy was livid, and I had never seen like because it didn't mean anything to me. Like it was like whatever. So like, and I feel like afterwards, I felt like I had hurt him in a way, and I was like, oh shit, that was really bad. That was really bad. So a couple months go by, I didn't pick up the game at all, and then I started doing bot matches. Like I just started doing bot matches like nonstop, and then I started playing against people. And then like I kept getting like berated, and especially if I did voice comms, like, oh my God,
yeah.
You sound like a black guy. And I was like, yeah, I was like, black people don't play Dota. And I was like, fuck you. And then I was just like, oh my God.
Is that a stereotype? I guess.
No. Oh my God. Are you kidding? How many other black people do you know in the community?
Weedman.
Exactly. You know Weedman? I heard about that guy a couple days ago. Like I said this on Twitter. I only heard about him recently.
Okay.
I want to work with that guy. He seems like a fun person.
He is a fun person. So here's my Weedman story.
I'm listening.
We have Weedman on, and everybody's listened to the show, already heard it, but I'm telling the story again, damn it. So we had Weedman on. He was our first guest. It was super cool. because we were a brand new podcast at that point. Like he might have been like our second or third guest. I think Gorgon was our first guest, Greg Laird was our second guest, and then it was Weedman. So we have him on, and we have this really killer interview with him. He's super fucking funny, really, really personable. Tells us all about this like new tournament structure that he's trying out for all of his subscribers to his stream. And we get to the end of the interview, and because we were trying to incorporate video at the time, and we had an issue with syncing. We had an issue where basically we lost the audio. We didn't lose anybody else's audio but him. So we have to call Weedman back, and we have to apologize. We're like, look, we lost your audio. It was a big fuck up. We're really sorry. We'd love to have you back on the show. And he goes, yeah, well, I'll do it in an hour. We're like, okay. So we wait. We call him back in an hour. We get him on the Skype, and I'm like, hey, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that tournament that you got going on? And he says, what tournament? And I was like, the one that you're running for your subscribers. I don't know anything about that. And I'm like,
oh wow.
I'm like, okay. And I get a few more questions like that, and then we hear him go, oh, that was a sick hook. Oh, that was a sick hook.
Oh, he's in the middle of playing it.
Yeah, we realized, oh, he hasn't been able to talk to us because he's been wrecking his pudge in a pub match for the entirety of the interview.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we that's where we ranked with Weedman after the audio fuck up. But he was still a good sport. He's a funny guy. That's for damn sure. And that interview wound up having a pretty big payoff when we finally came to the realization that he was playing. But yeah,
that's awesome. I'm not playing Dota right now. I was thinking about like you guys should probably play Dota with people while they're interviewed. But I think that'd be hilarious.
Sometimes, other times it would be dead air. That's my suspicion.
Oh, I could have a conversation and play at the same time. That's
Oh, not me. I'm bad.
Oh, yeah.
I can have a conversation about what's going on in the game. I can
Really?
I can yell about how terrible my teammates are doing. I can do that with some pretty damn good efficiency. But that's about it. I'm a simple man, Malice. A simple man.
Oh, hey, Ted Cruz just dropped out of the race. Just putting that out there.
Oh, no shit.
Well, I mean, it should have happened a week ago.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I was holding out hope for a contested convention.
I was holding out for that too, to be honest with you. But logic doesn't work with politics. If you understand how that works.
I would have loved to have seen a contested convention. Regardless of who you're for, contested convention just has fun written all over it.
So much better.
But hey, speaking of Republicans, yeah, you and Weedman are the only black guys I know in Dota too. So
I see what you did there, and I'm not happy about it. No, no. Actually, there's one or two more. There's a couple of us. There's not too many in the community side as much. Sadly enough, there's I think this guy's got his Twitter profile as it's Kanye West, and it's always weirded me out. It's just like why do you have that?
Well, maybe he's the voice of a Dota generation.
Oh my God, no, he's not. He's a cool guy. I've talked to him a few times. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago, where it's like, yeah, there's not too many people that are African American in the Dota or like of colored blood descent or whatever.
Unless you're Asian.
Yeah. But then there's a whole other thing with that. Don't even get me started with that. But yeah, like the whole like gaming in general. It's just like there's only it's Cameron Reagan.
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
He's a Dota journalist for Team Empire, and he works with Slingshot eSports.
Yeah, DOS Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo.
We've had him on the show before.
Yeah,
he's a super cool guy. It's funny. Dota, not just Dota, but video games were such like a white male stereotype. For like white adolescent male stereotype for so long. Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like the conversation has, as we've all aged, it's transitioned from, because we talk about race at large as a society, at least in America, with some frequency. We talk about gender politics, but in gaming, it feels like it all focuses on gender. The differences in play styles and attitudes, taste. It really seems to like shift over to more of a gender difference than like a race difference ever. You know what I mean?
I think that race in gaming is actually it's connected more to socioeconomic problems than like interest or anything like that per se. But I think there's a lot of problems there, especially in America, regarding to.
Yeah. Well, I know racism is prevalent in gaming. That's for damn sure. I mean, I the racial slurs, and admittedly, it's not usually focused on the African American community in Dota. It tends to be focused, at least on the NA servers, on the poor Peruvians.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
my gosh,
but
that's bad.
I,
Like I've experienced it. I'm just like, oh my god. But then it's just like, at least they're not coming at me. So I'm just like, it feels horrible because I would love to like I'm the guy that gets called out for trying to like white knight, but I'm not trying to white knight. I'm just like, dude, nobody wants to play a video game and get like racist at the
yeah.
same time. Like nobody wants you to like use racial slurs against them. They're just trying to enjoy themselves.
I mean, that's probably what dominates the majority of my reports. I just put
It's just
communication, yeah, communication abuse, and in the comments section because it makes me feel better. I just type racist.
yeah, racist.
Just let
That's
them
all
know.
you need to know.
Racist. That's who this guy is.
Exactly.
With the Peruvians, I suspect that a lot of the racism. I know that what it really stems from is an issue with communication. And like, don't get me wrong, like it is frustrating to play a game with Peruvian teammates who you can't communicate with as fully as you can an English speaker.
Yeah.
It's a game. It is supposed to be a game of communication. That being said, half the time when I'm with English speakers, the communication is just as bad, if not worse. Depending on who you get paired with in the gutter that is the Dota pub.
Exactly. It's kind of aggravating to be completely honest with you. Like not being able to play against people properly.
Yeah, well, and I wish people were able to identify, or rather, that they were able to like take a step back and have that kind of metacognitive realization that, hey, what I'm frustrated about is not that this guy is Peruvian, but that I can't talk to him, and instead try to like tackle the problem that way, as opposed to, well, this guy's Peruvian, so he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know, that apparently is a step that. I won't say the majority of Dota players, but there's a vocal minority of Dota players that can't make that connection. It's impossible for them.
We're all on the same side here. I feel like you understand exactly what a lot of us go through every day. But that is definitely something that people have to fight, like have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, I don't know but yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it's race and gaming is something I have. I mean, beyond the like I said, the Peruvian concept just isn't something I normally consider as much as I do gender, because I feel like sexism. Man, when there's a female on the comms, and it's funny sometimes because you'll play with a female player and you won't hear her speak for a while until like she can kind of gauge the situation. It seems like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
She's doing, yeah.
And like seeing like, okay, how are these guys communicating with each other, and if I start speaking up now, is it just going to turn to shit because I said something?
Yep.
And I don't know. I hope people I hope people take a moment to like contemplate that. I hope that the average white male gamer takes a moment to contemplate something like that. That it, I tell my buddy all the time, like, the rape is something that's joked about, right? With comedians, like rape is a popular thing to go
It's
to,
not
and
funny. But
well,
whatever.
I mean, it can be in the sense that what comedy, at least these days, intends to do is kind of like shine that light on society, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between somebody handling it tastefully and somebody not handling it at all. But I always tell my buddy, like, I've never gone anywhere and worried about being raped. Like, I've never, ever, ever walked somewhere and thought for a second, boy, I don't want to hang around here because I might get raped. Or, boy, I don't want to be alone for that long because it's kind of late and kind of dark and I could get raped. That's not something I ever think about.
Yeah, that's something. I feel like that is something we take for granted as people.
Oh, yeah, I know that we absolutely do. And not that it's on as grand of a scale when you're talking about gaming. Gaming is, it's somewhat different, but it's sad that there are subsets of the community where it's not safe for you to just play the goddamn game because you're Peruvian, because you're female, because you're black, because you're whatever. Because if you speak up and somebody notices, they may just instantly turn on you, and it's worse, 10 times worse on the internet half the time because you're just being paired with people randomly, and even worse, they at least feel completely anonymous, so they're able to just kind of give in to their baser elements. And
which doesn't even fucking make sense, but yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Why is that your baser element, is to be a racist ass?
Yeah, I don't.
If that's your baser element, then I don't even want to know what, like, where you came from, like, because that's horrible.
Well, it's who they are. That's I guess, like, that's the big joke is, of course, on them, on the people that do that, because the that's who they are. When that anonymity shield gets placed on you on the internet, and you go online and you play that game and you become a racist fucking prick, that's who you is. Like,
I mean, because that's kind of funny to me, like, that you say it like that, because it's like, I wasn't a racist and then I played Dota. Like, yeah. That's kind of how it feels like. Because I know plenty of people that, like, I don't rage, but some days I rage like a motherfucker. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not racist. I will never call somebody out for that, mainly because I'm black, and having that happen to me is annoying.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I get shit all the time, and I think Dota does bring out those things in you. It's hard to not rage. Like, I get made fun of. I'm called General Cyphus from time to time, and I don't feel like a bossy guy, but I can get into a Dota match, and I can issue some commands.
Well, it's a strategic game.
That's my argument. Damn it.
Yeah, it's a strategic game. If you feel like you can be that person that can command people, and you're not a complete ass about it, then I feel like you should be able to. There's a way to do everything.
My producer Roland is sitting over here and just kind of gave me a tilted head, like, if you cannot be an ass about it. So yeah. So apparently,
I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have enabled him. I don't want to be an enabler. I apologize.
Yeah,
now.
That's right. I'm allowed to do it.
See,
I'm glad. See, this is what I was expecting, is to get into some interesting issues with you. I'm glad that you came on to talk about it. But before I let you go, I would be remiss if I did not ask you, what the fuck's going to happen in Manila?
Manila. I think as of right now, we're in an interesting spot because it's the new patch, and I'm pretty sure everybody's just like, what the hell's going to happen in Manila? Like, a lot of people have been asking that question. And I'd be remiss to say that, like, we don't know. Like, it's really anybody's bag right now. And that makes me happy because it doesn't feel like anybody is guaranteed to win it. I mean, like, yeah, we've got the people that are probably going to win it. We've got their EGs and secrets,
Yeah.
But we don't know right now. And that makes me very happy. I would be so, so happy to see one of the qualifying teams win it. I would be so happy to see that happen.
I think everybody would.
I mean, I'm one of those people. I've been streaming for less invited teams, because then that makes for better Dota. That makes for people who are hungry at the bottom of the totem pole right now, who are unpaid and aren't able to play Dota full time, but have the sheer talent and the sheer want and the hunger for it. That's when we're going to see the best Dota. It's when we allow the people who have they have shit to prove.
Yeah.
When we let them come up and do things, that's when we'll start seeing the best Dota.
Well, and even
that's just my opinion.
And yeah, I'm with you. Even worst case scenario, let's decide what the worst case scenario is. All of the top teams that you normally would have invited that have brand recognition, a fluke event occurs in every one of their series, and not one of them makes it to the finals.
Yeah.
Does that mean? I don't think that mean. It doesn't mean that I won't watch it.
What? Wait. Do you feel like it means that you won't watch it?
No, I will watch it. Like, to me, I don't see that situation occurring, and there's no EG and there's no secret and there's no MVP Phoenix and there's no I don't see that and go, well, I'm not watching then.
Oh, I could give a damn. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Shit. I'd be like, oh, hey guys, guess what? It's not the same fucking people over again.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get wanting to follow those players, and let's face it, realistically, a lot of those teams would make it with a purely open qualifier.
Yeah, they would. because they're just better. I mean, like look at Alliance. Alliance usually does great during those time periods. Like that's where they thrive. To be honest with you, is when they have open qualifier and they have to prove themselves to get there. But I also, on the other side of it, I feel like people need to we need to have it more open. We need to have the opportunities for those that are like whoever said that this is how it needs to be.
Well, I was always really surprised that it, the invites, and I know they are to an extent, but I mean, like, why isn't there a system in place where we take the top 4 teams at the last major, and those are the teams that get invited? Everybody else is an open qualifier.
See, boom, right there. That's a good. Well, I mean, okay, so I think the reason, as soon as I said that, I was like, wait a minute, no, I know why. The reason is because they're trying to allow the other tournaments, the smaller tournaments, like the invitationals and whatnot, like that. Like, what are we thinking about right here? Shucks. There was one that was in Kiev a couple weeks ago where Ryu Borison was there and Nahas were on the desk. And there was another one.
Dream Star,
Yeah,
I
Star
League
Ladder, Star Ladder, I League, all that stuff. Like they need to give those the champions of those like some kind of benefit because if we literally just let the Star Ladder, like if we had the previous majors top 4 were automatically brought in, then what's to say those 4 would play anywhere else?
Yeah.
So that's the reason. Like there's like I feel like I on one hand I am definitely one of the people that's like very vocal about like what needs to happen and like where we need to go with Dota in the future. But at the other end, other end of the stick, this is a business, and you need to benefit as many different people at a time.
I'll tell you I'm really I'll tell you what surprises me most, I guess, about the tournament structure. And I'll try to not take too long, where we've already gone for an hour here. But
oh yeah, we are probably
So one of the comparisons I've always made with the way that Dota is run, and I think it's a mistake, is it's run a lot like poker. Right?
It is, yeah.
There are a ton of fucking tournaments, and everybody's got to show up, and everybody's got to play every fucking tournament they can get themselves into that is worth the time for the buy-in to the payout, and where they anticipate they are skill-wise. So, I mean, Daniel Negreanu, great world-famous poker player, Phil Ivey, world-famous poker player. These guys go and they play every fucking, World Series of Poker tournament that there is throughout the year. And they're playing cash games all the fucking time. If you really want esports to take off and not be that, why don't we have something like a football scene? Why don't we have Dota Sundays where...
I know!
You know what I mean? Like where every team where it's like, oh, hey, you're going to watch Dota this Sunday? Yeah, EG and Secret are playing each other. Oh, yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I am down for it. We should talk about that.
Let me follow a season. Like, let me actually follow a season. And then how about, then those guys get paid salaries, and then those finishes, at various tiers pay out. I know that's requiring a complete restructure. Really what it would require is Valve to kind of completely step in and say, well, no more private tournaments. Here's how we're doing it. And I get that that's not entirely desirable to a lot of people, especially those that are making money in the scene right now, doing things the way they are. But from a fan perspective, that's got to be ideal. And at that point, Valve steps into the role of the NFL, the role of MLB. They are the commissioners of that particular sport. You know what I mean?
I like it. You and I are on the same page on this, okay? And that is amazing. A lot of people are on our same page, and a lot of us want to see this go somewhere. I mean, I'm not going to say anything against Valve, but Valve needs to be more control. Like, they need to be a little more present in what's going on because they added the major system. Boom, awesome, that's great. Yeah. We need to have there's so many different things that we need in order to turn this into
a regular sport.
Right now, it's in the Wild West. We're in the tournament phase.
And I don't mean regular in the sense that like it's regular like baseball is regular. I mean regular is in consistency. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I clearly, like I hate to say this, like clearly Riot has kind of a good grasp of what is possible with League, right? I mean you look at the player base. So here's an interesting statistic. League of Legends of all time spent playing games throughout the course of a year, over the last couple of years, 22% of all game time has been spent playing League of Legends. That's a sickening statistic. Like Call of Duty and Battlefield and any number of your first person shooters, as a single title, at most gets 1 to 2% of playtime. League of Legends, 22%. If I were to randomly select somebody playing a video game right now, as a betting man, I would bet that they were playing League of Legends.
Probably.
And that's a strange. It's strange to, and I don't know. That scene doesn't really seem to be complaining. And I'm not like tapped into that scene the way I am with Dota, but that scene doesn't really seem to be complaining, despite the fact that Riot more or less has a stranglehold over everything. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot there, man.
Yeah, so that's my unpopular Dota thought.
No, I think that you have an opinion, and you would be remiss not to say it.
So yeah, I know it's not popular, and I know people worry about the game developers getting too involved, and to an extent, like there are definitely valuable arguments to be had there. Probably more so than we should include in like the last.
Before we go, we need to do. If you aren't already knowledgeable on WOMP, look up WOMP.us and use the code MALICE MALIC3 to join our private beta for one of our games. We're currently live with League of Legends and CS:GO. Dota 2 is coming very quickly. If you ever want to know what that is, look at WOMP.us and you'll figure it out very quickly.
Yeah, eSports micro tournaments. That's cool.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, you can make money. We have dudes making $600 an hour.
Jesus. Okay, so you can get paid to play video games, folks. All right, and before I let you go, because I got to ask you about this, because I hit you up. So Malice and I, we go back and forth on Discord periodically. I hit him up when I saw something about FU Play Me.
Yeah, so that's the social media aspect of WOMP. It's pretty much you can challenge somebody directly from their FU Play Me page. It's so WOMP, FU Play Me, all that's all tied together. We are blowing up very, very quickly. Expect to see a lot about us very soon over the next few weeks. We're working with some huge streamers. We're working with some huge personalities in the streaming and the esports world. I'm not going to say any names, but like there's like even me, there's so much going on right now. I would love to sit down and be like, dude, this is I have a meeting tonight that I wanted to tell you guys about. I might tell you about later after we stop recording, but it's insane. Like the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, so at some point I'm going to have you back, and I'm going to be a good host, and I'm just going to ask you about all the projects that you're working on.
Yeah,
and we'll get into because a basic rundown on the FU Play Me, which is a concept that I absolutely love. It's basically a way for you to challenge somebody, but put something behind it.
Yeah,
so.
We're esports game. We wouldn't say gambling so much because like gambling denotes like gambling by definition is denoted with a certain amount of chance, and there's literally zero chance with FU Play Me and WOMP. WOMP.us. So we'll just go with WOMP.us because FU Play Me is attached to WOMP.
Okay.
So
okay.
WOMP is it's a micro tournament site where we allow you to put $1 up. Let's use Dota 1v1s. So Dota 1v1s, one person puts up $1. Person number 2 puts up $1. Winner walks away with $2. You're like by all accounts, you're putting up $1 and you're saying it's skill betting. You're putting money on your own skill and stating, I will win this match. Winner is walking away with the pot. With League of Legends, Dota 2, we're letting people do 1v1s and 5v5s. We have so many different ways you can bet. You can bet on the same team. Like we put you in a party together and you play a normal match. But you can bet against your own team, saying you're going to have a higher CS rate or have a higher GPM or XPM. You can bet on any aspect of the game. You could say your character is gonna you're gonna die the most, or you're gonna get the most kills. You can bet on any of that stuff on your own team. 1v1s, you can it's always first to 100 CS, first tower kill or first death. That's how we do that. Okay. With CS:GO, we're doing something completely different. Where we're just doing gun game. So it's you start off with a pistol, you get a kill with a pistol, you move up to shotgun moves up to sniper rifle, so on forth, so on, through how many weapons that lobby has stated, and last weapon is a knife. So we have minimum people is 2, maximum people is 10. Let's do a thing where it's each person, since we have 10 people in the room, each person puts up $5. That means the pot is $50.
Right. So if you're the last man standing, that's not a bad payout.
if it's 4 people and under, only the top person gets paid out. If it's 10 people, then that means the top 5 people get paid out.
Okay. So it's
So
kind
it's
of
not
like a sit and go structure.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
like you don't feel so as I said earlier, we've got people that are making like ridiculous amounts of money in 1 hour. And that's not even just because they win every single time. That's just because they happen to consecutively place 1 through 3rd.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's, hell, that's more poker than anything.
Yeah, it's extremely poker.
Yeah.
But we're expanding into other games. Those first 4 games are just what we're doing first. Expect Hearthstone and games like that, and like a whole list of other games to pop up soon.
Yeah, well, go check out WOMP.us, guys, to find out more about that, and look into the FU Play Me aspect of it. It's definitely a cool concept. I love it. And of course, if you guys want to find Malice, which you should, I recommend you follow him on Twitter. He's at Malice TV. That's Malice with a 3 instead of an E. And you can find his show. When do you guys do True Sight over at twitch.tv/daily dot?
Tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow, we're having the True Sight Show is doing another episode.
So we're recording on Tuesday. So when folks are hearing this on Wednesday, that will be tonight.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Eastern?
Central. 6 p.m. Central Time.
So...
Eastern Time, that's like 5.
No, Eastern Time, that's like 7.
7? Oh,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. 7 p.m. EST, which works out to be 4 p.m. PST, or I think it's PDT and EDT right now because of daylight savings time, because we're a ridiculous country. But yeah, so you guys should go check it out. They cover all things esports. They talk about Dota. What are you guys going to be talking about tomorrow?
Can't talk about it yet, but I'm telling you, watch it. It's going to be crazy.
It's a secret. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tune in, guys, and check it out. That's twitch.tv/daily dot. And yeah, go check out Daily Dot. That's a cool. Hell, I'd love to get some of those guys on and talk about Daily Dot and how it got started, because they've got a cool story as well.
Yeah, I could totally tell Ian to get on here.
Yeah,
let me know. Give me like a day in advance next time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We had a little short notice this time around, but I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you doing it. It's been a pleasure talking with you, like it always is. And you guys can look forward. We're gonna have old Malice back on .p as often as we can, so you can look forward to more of those.
I mean, if they like it, if you get like no views on this thing, you know why? It's probably
it's my podcast. I get to have whoever I want, bro.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they get to bear with me. So, yeah, they're gonna see more Malice, I assure you. Anyway, I'm glad you came on. It's always a blast. Go check out True Sight, guys. All right, until next time, this is Cyphus for Malice saying good luck.